It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. On the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Today's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking with philanthropist Mark Wittig and our Financial Focus sponsor, Joseph Warren. So my first question to you is, does it make a difference? Do I make a difference? Can you make a difference? We'll be discussing that question throughout our show today. The hidden legal blind spot today is what are the laws that govern the homeless? And I know that not everybody appreciates that term, calling people that live on the street homeless. But I don't know what the polite way of discussing the subject is without getting weird, and saying unhoused people or people without houses. We'll talk about that as well. Give me some feedback. What terminology should I be using? Email me at host@talklawradio.com. Post a comment on Facebook or on YouTube. But first, we're going to be talking with Joseph Warren. He's an advisor with Financial Planning HQ, and he and his family sponsor the Financial Focus segment of Talk Law Radio. We talked about what a fiduciary is. We talked about some tax planning ideas, year-end tax planning. Today we're going to be talking about charitable planning, charitable financial planning.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Joseph.
I'm really happy to be here again.
Yeah, we love having you on because you teach us things. We appreciate that.
Love to teach. Yep.
So charitable giving is something that a lot of people have the heart for. Mm-hmm. But what role does charitable giving have in financial planning?
Yeah, last week we were talking about year-end tax planning, and a lot of that is helping you to save money so it goes to your family instead of the IRS. And another thing we like to do is have people send their money to charity instead of the IRS as well, just because we believe they're slightly better stewards of that money. And it's actually been shown that when you choose to give of your own volition versus then being compelled, you actually get a boost in well-being and happiness. They've done studies on that. So there's some things the government does that is good, right? But some things that could be considered wasteful. So it's good to think about those causes that are near and dear to your heart and to give. A lot of the strategies I'm going to talk about today are good for people who are already giving. But even if you're not, I would encourage everyone to give because it's good for you. It's good for the charities that you give to. And you get a nice little tax incentive as well for giving to charities.
I think it's good for teaching the children as well.
Yeah.
So I ask them, if I give you $50, what charity would you like to give it to?
Yeah.
Around the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids are watching as well. So they may not always listen to what you say, but they're always watching what you do. So it's a way of building a legacy, a very powerful way. And sometimes giving can even extend, beyond one's lifetime to like a multi-generational thing. So,
right. Tell us about how we have choices with our money.
Yeah. So there actually are studies that have done that. They looked at people's budgets and they showed that even a small amount of giving increases happiness or self-reported happiness, well-being. So it's really good for you to give. But I would say, just an example with one of our clients, we had a client who was already giving to their church, which is very common. He was giving about $12,000 per year to his church that he was a part of. And we were looking at that, and we like to challenge our subject matter experts. So we asked our tax person, what do you think, or what's an idea that you have that could save him on his taxes? And I kind of alluded to this last time. It was a similar type of idea. But he said, just send that $12,000 directly to the church from your IRA. And that makes it so that instead of having to pay the taxes on it for a required minimum distribution, because this person was, 73, 75, he was having to do those required minimum distributions, it'll be completely tax-free. Church gets their money. They're happy. He was going to give to the charity anyway or to his church.
Right.
And he got that tax break for doing that. So that was one example.
And so what are some of the ways, did you already mention this comes from his IRA?
Yeah. Yeah, this comes from his IRA directly. And normally when you take that money out, it's taxable. We talked about this last week. The government mandates you to take that money out with penalties of 25% because they want to tax it. It's not,
right.
It's almost like a business. They want to get the money from you that they need to run the government and do stuff like that. But we basically sent it directly to his charity or to his church, and it made it so he got the tax deduction, didn't have to pay any taxes on that, and the church got the money. So it's basically a win-win. From an accounting standpoint, he did what he was going to do anyway, but he still got a tax break for $12,000, saving about $3,000 per year.
What are some other charitable giving techniques that help to save some taxes?
Yeah, there's a few strategies. It depends how complicated you want to get with it, but just cash giving. If you give cash, up to 60% of your adjusted gross income can be deducted. So that's the limit that they put there for giving cash.
If you're itemizing.
Yeah, and that's if you're itemizing. So that's usually higher income people with high medical bills, property taxes, things like that. But you can plan to itemize a certain year and just kind of bunch all your deductions in one year.
Oh, okay.
That's a strategy that some people do. You can give highly appreciated stock or digital assets. Sometimes people have, Bitcoin, things like that are highly appreciated. And if you do that, you won't have to take the long-term capital gain. And you can deduct up to 30% of your AGI doing that.
Can somebody give land?
I believe you can give land, yes. You can definitely give land. I know people give their cars. You can give, property. And there's even donor-advised funds. That's another strategy that people do where you put your money in there and you can decide later where you want it to go. So I know one I use with my clients sometimes is Fidelity Charitable, I believe it's called. And you can fund that account with stocks, different things. You can have a say-so in how it's managed. And you can decide, I want it to go to Mark Wittig's charity, to the, the housing for the homeless, different things. Towne Twin Village, or wherever you want it to go. So that's another thing is donor advised funds give you that flexibility to decide later where you want the money to go.
And that's another way to involve the family, I think, is you can all discuss among yourselves what charities do we want to give to this year.
Yep. And it's a great family practice talking about legacy. Like every dollar that comes into your life is a choice, right? You could spend it. You can, rack up debt. You can do all these different things, but I can't think of anything better than giving to charity and showing your family that as well.
I'm glad you said that. It made me realize, that I do have a choice. I think that most people get all wrapped up in work and paying their bills and coming home and taking the kids to soccer practice and then having dinner and going to bed and doing it all over the next day. But I like the idea that I have a choice, and I hope that people really do have a choice. Hopefully their bills don't totally overwhelm their budget every month.
Even if it does, I've been there. So even if it does, just volunteering, I used to volunteer with Soldiers Angels. It's a group in town, veterans group. That was something that was near and dear to me. But you meet the most interesting people. There's just something about people who are out there giving their time, giving their money. You just meet people who are doing cool things. It's really a great experience, very rewarding. So even if you can't give money, I think it's good to give your time to a cause that you care about.
Right. And so can you use your financial roadmap to help somebody with their goal of being a philanthropist or giving to charity?
Yes. So the first step there is we often ask people questions. We call it the values conversation. And it follows Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So people will start off with kind of like the lower part of the pyramid. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that.
Yeah.
Which is like security. I want to be able to pay my bills. I want to never be broke again. But then as people go, it's like, it goes towards their faith. It gets towards higher levels. I want to be closer to God. I want to fulfill my purpose as a Christian. I want to make the world a better place.
Right.
And we've had clients who've said that, and it really is something they're aspiring to do. So if people are already giving, we encourage them to give, but if they're already giving, we just create a strategy around that so they'll save as much in taxes as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how do people develop the ideas of who to give to?
I think it really starts with, I guess I would call it soul searching, but thinking about your past and what you've been through and things that helped you out. So I know for myself, like I went to college in Kerrville and they recently had a horrible, flood. They had a horrible situation there. Like it was a no-brainer to me when I saw that. I'm like, okay, how much money do I have to give? And just making it a habit, like I think like the tithe for that reason, that 10%. That's good too, because that teaches people how to invest, like take at least 10% of your money and invest it as well. But having some money just set aside for that, and then when the opportunity arises, just having a budget for it and just giving. Do
you have any resources for our listeners this week?
I do. Every week I'm going to have resources. Spoiler alert. But this week I have a one-page guide to charitable giving and how to make sure you get the most tax benefit for doing so. And for anyone who gives me a call at 210-444-2128, I'll send that to you free of charge. I'll just email it your way. And for the first 3 people who do that, I'm also going to send a book that will massively increase your chances of achieving all your financial goals.
210-444-2128.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, we always say it a couple of times because somebody might be driving or, working in their garage or walking the dog. So you have to help them remember that.
Oh, for sure.
So this is Joseph Warren with our financial focus. Him and his family do financial planning for successful people who want what?
Who want to achieve all their financial goals, no matter what happens in the world, the economy, the stock market, who want to make sure that they have the impact on the world that they want to have.
Thank you for the financial focus. Next segment, we're going to be talking with Mark Wittig about the Towne Twin Village, housing first, homeless issues. So stay tuned. Are you confident about your financial future? What if you had a clear financial roadmap and a team holding you accountable to make the best financial decisions no matter what? At Financial Planning HQ, Steve and his sons, Joseph and Jacob, have been helping San Antonio families since 1987 with inspiring, intelligent financial strategies. Whether it's achieving or maintaining financial independence, becoming more tax efficient, or building business wealth, we create a comprehensive, written lifetime financial strategy that's uniquely yours, based entirely on what's important to you. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Call Financial Planning HQ today at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. And take the first step towards financial clarity. That's Financial Planning HQ, inspiring financial strategies for San Antonio. Remember, 210-685-2722. I'm Todd Marquardt. A lot of people think trusts are only for the wealthy, but that's simply not true. If you want to avoid probate, maintain your privacy, protect your assets, or make things easier for your family, a trust might be exactly what you need. I'll help you understand your options and decide what's best for your unique situation. Let's talk. Call 210-530-4278 or visit marquardtlawfirm.com today. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, and I want to mention some of the laws that govern what happens to homeless people in their everyday lives. But we're going to be focusing on Mark Wittig, who's the president of Towne Twin Village. He's a philanthropist. He's retired from Wittig Office Interiors, which you worked there
50 plus years.
50 plus years. Wow. And so you didn't want to be bored and you decided to make a difference in people's lives. Is that right?
Well, I didn't want to be bored way before I retired.
Okay. Well, give us some idea about, I want to talk about the business end just for a minute or two. How did the lessons you learned in running a successful business prepare you for your philanthropic work these days?
Well, that's a good question. I think part of it in life is, having connections and reaching out and asking somebody to join you. So in business world, if you don't ask, you're going to have skinny kids.
Right.
And so developing that muscle, if you will, helps you in other things in life outside of business. So if somebody doesn't know about you, they can help you. And we got to talk about it.
And so you have lots of friends, I would imagine.
I have a couple at least.
And when you were in the business, worried about employees and payroll and overhead and inventory, how did you find the space to start giving back to the community? What led you this way?
Well, it started way before I got into business. I grew up in Almas Park, which is a privileged neighborhood, if you will. And literally a couple long rock throws was some real poverty. And I'm pretty sure that the ladies that lived there were doing house cleaning in the area. Mm-hmm. They didn't have grass, but they had children playing. And so I saw the difference within literally less than a minute from my house. Mm-hmm. And so I'm the fifth of 9 children, and so that I was blessed and cursed with being an observer. And I just observed that not everybody lives in a nice house.
Right.
So, and as you get older, you find out it's far worse than that. Some people don't have a house at all.
Right.
And and then once you're homeless, your life skills, to the extent you had them, they deteriorate quickly.
Oh, I see.
Your self-confidence, your hunger, you're subject to being ill. You're subject to being robbed.
I've heard
it's a world far different than what you and I have.
Right. I've heard that when you reach a certain level of hunger, that's all you can think about is how can I get some food? And so you can't really think about a lot of other things.
There's that for sure. And then if you're homeless, the high percentage of them are where they're going to be. I'm going to say 6 p.m. somewhere early. They go to their place, they hide, and they go to bed early. And they just don't want to be vulnerable. So they have a whole different experience than we do. And, of course, hunger is one. They're victims as well.
Safety.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie Happiness, with The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith?
Yeah, great movie. Yeah.
That what you said about being somewhere at a certain time made me think of that movie, because he had to make sure that he was at the shelter at a certain time, but he was also trying to become an investment advisor.
Yeah.
And so he would finish work and have to find his son and then get to that shelter at a certain time, and it was always very hard for him to do.
Yeah. It's a whole different world than what we have.
Right. So for those of us who don't know what Towne Twin Village is, I'd like for you to just give an overview, and then we can go into some details. This is Mark Wittig. He's the president of Towne Twin Village, and we want to know about what it's like there, and then how you would like to expand the program to reach more people.
Sure. Well, the backstory is a group of people formed a Catholic worker, and there's a lady named Dorothy Day who died in 1980 in her 90s, and she served the homeless. And people who wanted to model after her, they would create a place, and anybody can do it, and it's not really about being Catholic. It just so happened that's what she was. And and so we started one in San Antonio 40 years ago. And 20 years ago, Dr. Chris Pleshay, a medical doctor, was looking do something different. And she had been in medical 30 years. And so she came to us, quickly became our executive director. And she's serving to people. And when you serve to people, you get to know them and care for them and respect them. And you want more from them. You know the joy they have when they're with you. They feel safe and they can laugh and they can talk and have a good meal. But you also know what happens when they leave. So it was on her heart, is there a way that we could provide housing? And from when it was on her heart to when it actually happened, I don't know if 6 years went by, a period of time. One is finding a site, which is a lot easier said than done. We as human beings, we all have fear, and the neighbors would fear, oh my gosh, violence and robbery and all kind of stuff. Yeah. And so you look around. We wanted a site that was on a bus line because the people we serve don't have a car. Mm-hmm. And so it took us a while to find a site, and when we did, we also, Dr. Chris did not want to run what is now Towne Twin Village. She wanted to serve at Towne Twin Village. So we created a board for Towne Twin, and that board raised the money, and Catholic workers on the site under the name Dorothy Day. And but we have an administrator who had worked for the city. Ironically, our neighbors, we were in Dignified, and Dignified started gentrifying the last 15 years. And they were those who would call the city anytime they had a reason to, thought they had a reason to, and complain about somebody walking on their grass or whatever it might be. And there was a time where Edward Gonzalez, who worked for the city, was sent to Catholic worker to close it down. And when he went in there and he saw what was happening, how people were being served, and the dignity in which they were being served, he called back and says, I can't do it. So if you send somebody else to do it, I'm not going to do it. And ended up not doing it. And they would work on us on things that we could do to reduce the tension. But they also knew that we were looking for a site. Mm-hmm. It takes time to get a site. But we finally did, and we sold the property, and we're out of Dignified.
Okay, so where is it now?
It's off at WW White inside 410, and it's 17.4 acres. And one of the criteria was a bus line, and we have a bus line. It would stop 100 yards from where our site was, but they ended up creating an extra bus stop on our site so that you can get off the bus and you're there.
Oh, right.
And we have a shaded area with water and restrooms at the site. In fact, the driver of the bus will get off, and he'll go take advantage of the restroom and take advantage of refreshing his water, his cooler. Mm-hmm. And so it works out really well. It's on Route 22, and it's the last stop, and then the apartments next to us is the first stop. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. And so part of this comes from the philosophy housing first. Are you familiar with that, Joseph?
I'm not, no.
Okay. Can you talk about what housing first means?
Well, good people who want to help would come up with a concept that if you want to stay here, these are the rules you got to abide by, with the thinking that will make things work. Mm-hmm. And it does work. It does work for some, but there's others who says they're not going to go from where they are into that philosophy,
right? Because of their hierarchy of needs.
They're cold turkey. Yeah. And so there's another philosophy that started a while back in housing first, and you help them get settled, and then from there they can make some life choices. In Austin, there's a place called Community First Village, and they have grown. They're about 10 years ahead of us. They have grown to where they're serving like 2,000 people.
Okay.
It's with several campuses, and we copied several things from them. But their statistic is that about 70% of those who are on drugs or some type of, they let go of it at some point, not on day one necessarily, mm-hmm. but at some point they realize they're home, and they don't need this other stuff. This other stuff was dealing with their own wounds.
Right.
It's a way to mask it.
Wow.
And, of course, that doesn't help anything, but that's a lot of us mask in one way or another. It's a human thing.
Yeah.
And so they discovered that, and we've discovered it too. I know one person who was able to, this is very unusual, but he was able to drop everything on day one.
Let's talk about this more after the break. We have to take a break talking with Mark Wittig, president of Towne Twin Village, and Joseph Warren with Financial Planning HQ. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. In the beginning, God had one law: don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And now we have municipal, state, and federal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Today, we're talking with Mark Wittig, president of Towne Twin Village, about housing first, the philosophy that gives somebody a house, and then they can start letting their guard down, start feeling better, gaining confidence, getting some services. Before the break, Mr. Wittig was telling us a story about an individual, and so I want to go back to that, let you finish that, about somebody who did go cold turkey, no drugs on day one.
Well, it wasn't, he just didn't feel the need for it anymore. He knew his antenna told him he's home.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't expect that to be so quick, but from day one, he just released he just happened to tell me that.
Well, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
For everybody else, do you have services that help with that?
We have a large building that's the Dorothy Day House, and we have two lanes we serve: those that live on the campus, 55 and older, who have been chronically homeless, and those who are homeless, 50 and older, who can come there during the day and have breakfast and have lunch. They can do their laundry there. They can get a haircut there. And they can just chill. And they can take advantage of the medical building, which is right next door, and deal with medical needs. If we have activities in our activity buildings, they're invited to them. Mm-hmm. So they have a place where they're welcomed. So those are the two lanes we serve. And but as I was saying, in Austin, 60-70% of the people on their own just drop their addiction, mm-hmm. because the addiction in many cases is a mask to cover our woundedness, our loneliness, or whatever it is.
Right.
And when that's dealt with, they just kind of, without anybody pitching them or encouraging them, they just kind of do it.
There might be some people out there that just assume that every homeless person is on drugs. How do you deal with drug use on the campus? I mean, does it happen?
So our philosophy is that if you're doing drugs on the campus and you can be seen, you're going to be discouraged, and if you're selling or doing things, you'll get a couple warnings. Mm-hmm. But if you're what you do in your house, I don't want to sound like we're encouraging it, but we treat the people in their homes the same way the three of us treat our neighbors. We don't go in their house and say, "What are you doing?"
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's a respect.
Right.
And that respect is what allows them to let go. They're respected as a human being.
Yeah.
And they're not. So it works, but it works in a left-handed way.
I want to encourage you to explain to Joseph your statistics or your theory that this is actually less expensive than warehousing homeless people.
Well, homeless people who are on the street, they have a get-out-of-jail card, and it's 911.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you need something, you're hurting, whatever else, that's what you call. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the meter's running, which the community is paying for. Mm-hmm. So it's an ambulance or it's a police. and they take you to the emergency room or they take you to jail, whatever it is. It's just running.
Yeah.
At some point, you're back on campus, and guess what? Or you're back on the street. You can dial that number again and again and again. It gets action. And so there's just a hidden cost that's far greater than actually formally doing something like we're doing and others do to get people a home, give them so they don't have to be so vulnerable. Yeah. If you're on the street, you're a very high risk of being a crime victim. And a lot of people on the street, they're going to bed early. Like they'd be in bed right now already, at 6 p.m.
When it gets dark.
They get their space, and it's just safer. They're not necessarily wandering the streets.
Yeah.
Now we deal with an older population. We deal with 50 and older for the Dorothy Day House and 55 to live on the campus. So it's a senior. And there's homeless that are younger than that, obviously. Mm-hmm. But that's the niche that we targeted.
Mm-hmm. And if they have disabilities, are you able to accommodate that?
Well, we have this medical building, and University Hospital and Center for Healthcare Services are there, right on our campus, 25 feet from the Dorothy Day House. And so there's help there. If they need a specialist of some type, they can obviously take advantage of that. When you're there, the intent is for you to be there for life, if you choose. Mm-hmm. It's not a prison, so you can leave and not come back anytime you want. But its intent is that you have a home, and that changes everything when you start having friends. And if you come do a tour, you'll find that we arrange the houses in clusters, and they're all facing each other in a large oval. And the goal is to build things so that you become friends. Then you go to the Dorothy Day House and you're breaking bread with somebody. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden, over time, you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And you see people, and we come up with activities, and we're always seeking volunteers, people to come help and do different things to bring love and humanity into the campus. And the other thing I'll mention is, I don't want to forget this, that the city could use 10 to 12 campuses, whether they're 17 acres or 5 acres, but the need is great, and it makes a world of difference. When you come there, you feel safe. You walk around. I do tours, and anybody listening, I'd love to give you a tour. You'll walk right by the people that are living there, and they look like your neighbor. It's just things have changed.
How do people schedule a tour?
You go to Town with a E, Towne, Towne Twin Village. Go to the website and schedule a tour.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised. And somebody listening here may feel connected to this and want to be involved. We welcome that. The more people getting involved, the more love and warmth the campus will generate.
And what do you need in order to create more communities?
Well, we need two things. One, we need people, and we have a fair number, but we can always use more. There's days I walk by our activity buildings, and there's moments and there's nothing going on. It'd be nice to have more things going on. Mm-hmm. We also need more campuses, whether we do it or we help somebody else do it. We're taking a bite of the need, but the need is bigger than the number we're serving. We're building right now 4 apartment buildings that will take 20 each. And when we get that finished this time next year, we'll have about 210 people living on campus. And then maybe we have 100 a day or some number come to the Dorothy Day House.
What's the biggest challenge in starting another community?
Well, one is to find the site. And then we found we had the county and the city support us, and we found nonprofits that supported us. We found individuals that support us, and all that would have to be repeated. But I believe the city and the county would be game to help. Mm-hmm. And the fact that this first one is pretty successful, and it's less theory now; it's real.
Right. You have a real world example, and so that's why I asked you, Joseph. Yeah. Can somebody give land?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that would be helpful if it had a bus line next to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely can give land. Yeah. I have a question real quick. I think it's interesting because it's a philosophy which I remember hearing, that you build an environment and then people change around the environment. It's kind of what I'm hearing with Housing First. What are some success stories? I'd be really interested in hearing that, like how it's changed people's lives, or some good success stories of residents that y'all had there.
Well, one is the rules we have are pretty much the same rules as your neighborhood.
Yeah. You
don't expect someone to go start a fire in front of your house.
Yeah.
Same rule we have.
Yeah.
And so we're not burdened with a lot of rules, which we do respect. The way they're treated is with respect. And I tell people that dignity is the subliminal message of Towne Twin Village.
Yeah.
Everybody was born with dignity,
Mm-hmm.
but some of our dignity has been covered over with the hardness of life. Mm-hmm. And we're there fanning it and turning it a glow. And everybody has it. And when you come to the campus, you'll see people, they look like your neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because their dignity has been touched.
Yeah.
And that's the name of it.
But do you have any trouble with people that get there for the first time when they're with their scars and their maybe bitterness?
Well, it takes time. So this one example was day one, but it's usually within a year, and usually it could be. I've seen it sooner than later. If we find somebody who doesn't really want to be there and they need a more specialized place, we will find a place for them out of respect for that person and respect for those still at the campus.
Okay.
And that does happen, but we try to keep that to a bare minimum.
But you have a very patient staff, I would imagine.
Yes, and they're trained with that in mind.
Let's talk about that after the break. We got to take a break. I'm here with Mark Wittig, president of Towne Twin Village. If you'd like to take a tour, he'll probably be the one to give you the tour. And I've heard that it's a lot of fun. Joseph Warren is with us also with some interesting financial questions and philosophies. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Are you 100% confident that no matter what happens in the financial markets, economy, or world events, you will achieve your financial goals? If not, we have a process to get your financial house in perfect order and keep it that way forever. Your financial future shouldn't be a guessing game. Planning, advice, organization, and accountability are deliverables you should expect. For over 35 years, Financial Planning HQ has been San Antonio's trusted partner for comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies. Steve and his team, including sons Joseph and Jacob, don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, they create a personalized financial roadmap for you based on what's important to you. As an independent registered investment advisor, they're not tied to any big corporation's products. They work for you, creating inspiring, intelligent financial strategies that put your interests first. Call Financial Planning HQ at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. I'm Todd Marquardt. A lot of people think trusts are only for the wealthy, but that's simply not true. If you want to avoid probate, maintain your privacy, protect your assets, or make things easier for your family, a trust might be exactly what you need. I'll help you understand your options and decide what's best for your unique situation. Let's talk. Call 210-530-4278 or visit marquardtlawfirm.com today. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm here talking with Mark Wittig, president of Towne Twin Village, and Joseph Warren with Financial Planning HQ, sponsor of Talk Law Radio, is here with us. We've been talking about charitable planning, charitable giving, and I wanted to ask you guys, does it make a difference? Can I make a difference? Do you make a difference?
Yes, it does, I would say. I know Mark could speak on that, but yeah, every bit of giving, even a small amount, makes a difference, can change someone's life. Even just a nice comment to someone can change their life. So I think the choices we make in life, I've said this before, it's our legacy, but the choices of what you do with your time, your money, your business, everything that you do is your legacy. That's what it is.
Yeah, my brother Tyrone likes to smile at people to see if they'll smile back. And I think, it's sort of contagious that you have to smile if somebody smiles at you. Of course, unless you're sad or in a bad mood. Yeah. But this is the fourth segment. It's the legacy segment.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So he's playing a little bumper music there. Okay, so you guys know that Marquardt Law Firm focuses on business and estate law, and Marquardt Law Firm is also a sponsor of the show. So we do wills and trusts and tax-protected inheritance planning. It's all about legacy. So I like to ask our guest, what does legacy mean to you, Mr. Wittig?
Many years ago, my youngest was still maybe upper teen, and the range of my 5 children is 10 years. I pulled them together, and I put one of the buildings that we owned, and I created an entity called a jabalina, which is Spanish for quiver full. And the scripture says, blessed is he whose quiver is full. And I had 5 children. That's how many arrows goes in a quiver.
Okay.
And I said, y'all, and so I gave him an asset that was producing. I said, there's only one rule, one catch. It says you can never let anything come between you. You can't let this ever be divisive. That's the only thing I ask.
Mm-hmm.
And
do they get to manage it?
Yes. And they at some point sold it and got another one. And then my middle child, Jacob, bought some property, and he included his siblings in on it. So this part of it was also keeping the siblings they were tight and a rich family, and I didn't want them just blowing to the wind. So they had this, and they chose what to do. And so they kind of got into business earlier, at least in an aspect of business. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I came up with. And it was an original idea, and so far so good.
I love that, because siblings don't get to choose their siblings. They're just born into it. And at least with me and my siblings, we're all different. We may not have hung out at the same places or followed the same hobbies. You have siblings, Joseph. What would you say?
I would say, I'm starting to get close with my sister. She's been sending me those New York Times puzzles. But I know for a lot of life we were very different. But we worked together.
You're the oldest, right?
Yep, I'm the oldest. And I think it's good to, that's huge. That one comment to your kids probably sticks in their mind forever. We're going to stick together. We're not going to become divided. And that happens to so many families. I've seen it. It does. So
it's sad, too. It's estrangement and conflict. I see it a lot, and then probate and guardianship.
A lot around estate planning I've seen where people, sometimes get untrusting about why does that person have power of attorney and things like that. So, I think the family is a great place to start when it comes to building legacy. And family, kids and things like that, they may, God willing, they're going to live longer. So it's good to instill those values in them, even more so than, money or anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
One twist to it was that normally you die and then you bestow your...
Right.
And I decided to move that along a little quicker.
Right. So that you could be there and supervise.
Well, and it got them in a way a little bit of business because of it, how things work. But they figured it out. And
well, you know what I would tell my kids? I have 3. I would say, you can be mad at me if you want, but your siblings, they have the same blood as you. I might not be a perfect match for a kidney or some other organ, but your sibling probably is. So you guys need to have some mutual respect for one another because you might need a kidney. That was my attempt to keep the kids together, and thank God they're close.
Yeah.
So I did want to continue the conversation about Towne Twin Village and how you've made it so successful. I presume that all the space is filled. How do you manage all the demand that I assume that there is?
Well, the city has there's an entity that has a website, a toll-free number that if you're homeless, you check in and get your name in the system, for housing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's not enough housing for everybody, but we let this entity select people for us. So people don't come to me and lobby me or lobby the executive director. Mm-hmm. We let somebody else who does that for everybody.
Okay.
But once we get them, we try to make sure they'll be successful, they'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But we chose not to be in the power position.
And so as we near the end of the year, we were talking last week about some charitable giving and tax deductions, and Towne Twin Village is a tax-exempt entity, so
yes,
people can give. And
the need is great. Everybody knows that what's happening on a national level, there's less money coming from D.C. and other things,
mm-hmm.
and yet we still have people to take care of. And we take people in our campus economically blind. So we don't know if they're getting Social Security or not. They might be eligible, but to get it requires X number of paperwork, which
right.
they may or may not have. Mm-hmm. And it may take months and months to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if the source that's doing the filtering says this is a candidate for you, we take them whether they have Social Security or not. Mm-hmm. So we charge up to $300 in rent, and then they pay their utilities. Our tiny homes are very efficient, so it's not a big number. But after that, if they choose, they have free meals. We're on a bus line, and they have a safe place to live, and we have activities. And so they have a way to have a life. We have a few people who are able to work part-time, and that's great. But we also have people that are 89 years old and sit on their porch and
mm-hmm.
enjoy the neighbors and
nice,
not doing too much labor.
Do you have a goal in mind right now of we'd like to reach this level of giving so that we can buy the land or so that we can finish the apartments or something?
Well, we're able to get the funds for the apartments, and they're being built. And so this time next year, we'll have another 80 people on campus. But we have care. We call them care managers, caseworkers,
mm-hmm.
and we have staff, and so we have overhead, and so we rely on donors. If there's a program, a federal program, or any type of program we can tap into, we do. If we know about it, and
mm-hmm.
we'll tap into it. But we do rely on help. We can't, and if we don't keep an eye on that, then we could run out of gas.
Right.
So it's great to get the word out. We thank you for that. And
how can people give?
Well, they can give directly to Towne Twin Village.
Go to the
They
website?
can go to the website. They may want to get a tour and see firsthand.
Okay.
And there's a good chance I'll be doing the tour. And we'd like to see more of campuses like this and give people dignity. And it also makes, those who have fear, they won't have reason to if they're off the street living in a
right.
safe place. So it's a win-win.
So how much does a campus cost?
Well, our campus...
to build and get started.
You build as the funds come in. Well, we're probably at $37 million our campus with when the apartments are done and everything. You buy the land, you bring in power, you build the properties. Then we have a medical building, administration building, and the Dorothy Day building.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have buildings for activities. because it's a life, and not
Right,
it's not a prison.
right. Okay,
And
so if there's
inflation is, we're all living where things are more expensive than they
if
were.
there's 37 people out there with $1 million that they want to give, you can accept that.
Absolutely.
And then you can get started on another site.
And another site might not be 17 acres, might be 5 acres, but so we would scale down. But if people have money, this is a way to use it. Not only make you feel good, help the individual, but it helps the community.
So you're saying people can make a difference.
Absolutely. Can make a world of difference.
You know what reminds me of this whole thing is my dad told me this story about a child on the beach that was just walking down the beach throwing starfish back into the ocean. And so the parent asks, "Why are you doing that?" "Well, I'm saving lives. They need to be in the water." And the dad said, "Well, there's so many. How can you save all of them?" And he threw another one and said, "For that one, it makes all the difference."
Right.
So we have to close the show. We thank you for joining us. We hope that you'll call Towne Twin Village and schedule a tour with Mark Wittig. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk to you later.